Let's slow down now, take a closer look at the Old Testament. Number 5, the Old Testament consists of 39 books written before the birth of Jesus. Now, we could have picked that up because we just said they anticipate his coming. But that's one of the first things you just got to know when you think about the Old Testament. Okay, these are 39 books, and these were written before the birth of Jesus. That's right, they anticipate his coming. Now, number 6, those 39 books are divided into 17 historical books, 5 poetical books, sometimes they're called the wisdom books, and 17 prophetical books. Okay? As you take a look, when I was young in my Christian life and I'd get so intimidated by the Old Testament, I'd look at my table of contents trying to make sense of it. The first 17 are the historical books. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. Those are the 17 historical. Then you get 5 poetical, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Solomon. And then finally, the last 17 are the prophetical books, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Anybody want to come up and do that for everybody else? No. Whenever you think about the Old Testament, you're trying to make sense of it. Think like this: 39 books written before the birth of Jesus, 17, 5, 17. 17 historical books, 5 poetical books, and 17 prophetical books. And now number 7 will help us a bunch. The key to understanding the Old Testament is to realize that those 17 historical books cover the major storyline of the Old Testament, from the creation of the world in Genesis chapter 1 to approximately 400 years before Jesus in Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. And the remaining poetical and prophetical books fit in at their proper places. Here's maybe a better way of looking at it. Along this line, we've got all 17 of the historical books. From in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth to approximately 400 BC. And then the poetical books fit in. Job, we're not sure when it was written, but it was written about a man named Job who probably lived during the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is back in Genesis. David didn't write all of the Psalms, but he wrote a lot of them, and so we might put the book of Psalms during 1st and 2nd Samuel when we read about David's life. Solomon wrote Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. His story is told in 1 Kings chapters 1 through 11. And then the prophetical books. See, we got 3 arrows here. They fit into 3 different categories that we'll talk about later. But right now, I just want you to see that they fit down here toward the latter end of Israel's history. I tell you what's so helpful about this, at least for me, and I think maybe for you. As you think about trying to wrap your hands around the Old Testament and these 39 sometimes intimidating books, the fact is that to get the big story, all you have to do is read the first 17. Oh, you mean I don't have to read all 39? Now, of course, we want to read all 39, but in terms of getting your head around the big idea and the big story, what this means is you just have to read the first 17. I think that's helpful. I think it's encouraging, and I think that you can do it.